Hello, welcome back. Firstly, I apologise for not doing a video in such a long time. Hasn't been a great few weeks really, but that's by the by. The rain's come in, the weather's come in, it's the day after Boxing Day, and we've decided that we were going to go on a tractor run. We're going to go all up and down Home Firth, we're all lovely. We were a bit touch and go as to whether we were going to do it because of the fog. So we decided to have a day off, a rare day off, and I'm going to get on with building my shepherd's hut. Now, as you probably guessed, we've got 1,000 projects on. The Little Ferguson, that has been shelved for the time being. I'm going to show you that in a minute or two. We've got bits of shepherd's hut all over the place. I've been building it for 2 years now, and they've been cluttering up the sheds everywhere. So I've got a few days off work. We're going to get it all into one and make it into a structure. The plan then is to put it behind one of the David Browns and then take it off to the shows. I'm going to stop in it. Hopefully that'll happen. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. So first job is to get all the bits of wall down to the bottom where the chassis is, and we're going to start screwing it together.
It all started with an old hay trailer, which I renovated right at the start of the lockdown, looking ever in its splendour nearly 2 years ago now. Then started with the stud walls, using numerous bits of reclaimed timber and some second-hand window frames. Once everything was built, we had a trial run on the back of the Fergie.
Now I mentioned about the Little Ferguson. We've put her away under a sheet. She's asleep at the moment. What we've done is we've managed to source another gearbox. If you remember from the other videos, the gearbox was so badly pitted by the acid rain that I'm fairly sure it's structurally unsafe. So we've got another gearbox. I managed to get a seat and a spring and a dashboard as well. So hopefully over the next few months, with any luck, we'll get this in the garage and we'll be able to have a bit of a tinker with her. But she's on 4 wheels, she's moving, so we'll just put her away, just got her out of the way. She's here, sat next to HMS Little Ratty, which of course is another project that probably never going to get around to, but we'll focus on that in a later video. So that's the update on the Little Grey Fergie.
We started by moving the stud walls from the top to the bottom of our little field. Now here I am just fastening the first 2 walls together. That initial bit of filming was tricky, holding that first wall there. As you can see, there's a bit of an angle down into the ground. So here's the third piece now going together. All these studs were built around 18 months ago now. They've been sat in the side of the shed, basically getting in the way. They have been really dry, so they were quite light to pick up. But just manhandling it there onto the chassis did prove a little bit tricky, holding it in place and then buzzing it together with 4-inch 10 wood screws. Now, as you can see in the distance, it's quite a foggy day, still a little bit of snow on the ground. We'd had a couple of days of snow, quite festive, arrived on Christmas Day night. Now we're using a Makita 18 volt impact driver, much to the disgust of our neighbours because it is quite loud. However, we did keep its use to a minimum.
So we've got the 3 walls in now. It's not actually fastened to the chassis yet. I need to get the 4th wall in, square it all up, and then we can screw it down to the chassis. We're going to put some fairly big roofing bolts in to really lock it together, because this, despite being stationary, it is going to be designed to go down the road if we ever have to do So we've got the 3 sides in, 4th side is going to be going in fairly soon. Like a nugget, I went and bought some ramps not that long ago. These are huge ramps and they're capable of getting a tractor up onto a farm trailer. Bit of a bought on a whim, silly thing to do, to be honest. So we need to get these out before we can put the front wall in. They've just been sat here stored while we've been waiting to do this project. I'm hoping we can flash a few stills up as the video is going along of how we built these. It was done during the first lockdown, and we've started this. It's Boxing Day. The snow's just going now. It's really cold, but we're well wrapped up, and we're looking forward to a really productive day of construction.
Yeah.
So we're in garage. During the lockdown we built the roofing arches, and I had a load of this in stock, so rather than doing fancy bits with all real wood, I've actually cut them out. So pull that to one side, stick your peepers over the top of that. That wasn't supposed to happen. And there are the roofing joists, so we're going to take them outside. Don't know whether we're going to fit them yet, still need to make the veranda. So the next job is to oof all these outside, and it gives me a little bit more room in the shed, which is kind of the whole reason why we're doing this, because basically there's bits of shepherd's hut everywhere. So yeah, let's get on with that. Like a glove. So we've got the roof on. There is 7 trusses in total. So we're going to, well there's only 5 on there, so the other 2 are going to be for this front part here. So we're going to set to and build the studs that allows us to build the front part. It's giving out rain in a few hours, so we're kind of working against it. That stuff on the top is made of OSB, which is like a cheap type wood that I had given. So we don't really want it starting to rain. So they're not actually fastened on those, they're probably going to come off this evening, ready for tomorrow's activities. So we're going to have a dig around in the shed. I'm sure I've got some tanalised for the front, because this bit here is going to be open to the elements, and then there's going to be a bit of a step down to the floor. So we're going to find some tanalised in the back of the shed and build the studs for the front now. So we've got to get the tanalised timber from in another shed. Now I was saying earlier that basically this shepherd's hut has just taken up all of my sheds. So as I acquire things, we're trying to do this as sort of eco-friendly as possible and not to cost a great deal either. So all the stuff has come for either very cheap or free. Now I acquired a load of tanalised timber actually before the lockdown, so I managed to pay a fraction of the cost of what it's worth today. The only problem is it's right at the back of this shed. So we're going to need, I don't know what we're going to need, mining tackle, block and tackle, hard hat, the lot. We're going in. See how far we get. Tanalised, I think he's here. We have a stock of all sorts, but yeah, here we are. Okay, so that'll do. Now this saw is so old that Noah used it to build his ark. And you could actually ride bare bottom to Blackpool on this. I forgot to buy one before Christmas, so here we are, using the world's bluntest saw. We've made the sort of veranda bit now. This is a piece of reclaim that I found, which will act as the very front bit. I've extended this out and dangle a bit of a lantern on there. And I'm going to put a few cross braces in here. This is going to be the handrail, so you can stand and look out. Put a few cross braces in to try and strengthen things up. Just got another one to make now. Made a few boo-boos, as you can see from the array of offcuts. I'm no joiner, so it's just a matter of sort of designing as we go. Well, this nice piece of wood, it come off an old decking system that I found in a skip. So hopefully this should clean up alright, and it'll be a nice sort of centrepiece or front piece for the shepherd's hut. Got us cross braces in. It should be nice and sturdy now, and that'll be our front. Going anywhere, did it? Just going to put the cross brace in on the other one, and then we'll pop down with it. Oh, nice. Well, she's getting there, isn't she? So we've managed to fit the front bits, as you can see. We've used those big bits at the front because they're going to be exposed. Don't know if it's going to be a good idea or not, we'll soon see. And when we built them, not being a joiner, I didn't quite get them square, so we've got a little bit of a gap here. So I've tried knocking them to square them up, it's not happening. So we are going to use the brute force and ignorance approach and go get a ratchet strap, dug it from that end to that end, and that should pull it together and hopefully it'll be fine. Now you can see we've got the openings just here with the windowsills in. That will all become apparent hopefully tomorrow. Try and get the windows in. It's getting a bit minging now, believe it or not. There's a grand view of the hills up there, but it's just fog, so that's a bit rubbish. But we're pretty much wrapping up now. We're going to try and get the last couple of screws in, and then we're going to take those roofing joists off because they're only made of OSB. I don't really want them there overnight getting wet. I'm going to pop them in the goat shed, which is that old horse box that you can see at the back there, overnight. Come back to them in the morning and we'll carry on. Might get a bit of roof on, possibly some windows in tomorrow. There she goes. I think that is the last screw this is putting in today. Battery's gone flat. You can see you got that nice and flush now. Super. Now end of day one of construction, and I think that looks pretty good. Tomorrow we're going to make some bits to go on the front, some sort of bit of stud to make a bit of a doorway at the front, and possibly start putting the roof on. I do not know. Let's see what the weather does and whether the materials allow. That's it for today. See you in a bit. Morning. We are day 2 of construction now, and we've decided that we didn't have enough roofing bits. Basically it's roofing like that blue stuff that you can buy. So we've been down to Wickes and we bought a couple of lengths. I am absolutely amazed at how expensive wood is at the moment. It's not good at all. Paid £7.50 for one length because they fell through the floor. And then we needed some roofing sealant as well, but I wasn't paying £7.50 a tube, so we're going to Screw and Fix. to see theirs, which is £2.50 a tube. So it's worth a trip across town to have a look at Screwfix. The only problem with going to Screwfix is there's loads of fancy offers, which means that we'll go in meaning to spend £7.50 or maybe however much on the 3 tubes of sealant, and we're going to come out probably with more. So let's see how we get on. We're nearly at Screwfix now. We'll see you in a bit. Snug. Bow. Now this is actually filmed the following day, but I forgot to do a video of the final floor. The floor's in, a bit damp now, but the floor is in, and we can now start on the roof. Roofing joists are in now. I've carried them all down. It took a little bit of weighing up where they're going to go, because we've got the sheets all ready for the roof. So we've had to measure the width of the sheets that are going to go on the roof in comparison to where they're going to join, and then we'll be able to screw into the top. So I made these up, put notches in, a bit of sticks like the old pool glue, and a screw up into the top. So there's 7 in total. These are all spaced out as well as they can be according to the roofing sheets. That bit just sort of lands basically where the door is going to be, and then there's 2 more on the veranda on the front. So we're just going to put the last one in, and then we're going to have a look at putting the roofing, the lats in, is the next job. end of day 2 construction. It doesn't look like we've got much done, really. But there's actually a lot of work gone in. There's loads of measuring, gluing, getting it wrong, doing it all again, carrying stuff up and down. We've had to carry the 8x4 sheets for the floor up to the top of the hill, and then once they've been cut, we've had to carry them back down again. So we've got the flooring, we've got the roofing timbers in. We've run out of wood for that, so we're going to have to improvise. I've got a big pile of old decking boards up at the top. They're going to end up being the fascias, and then ultimately the soffits as well. So next, well, tomorrow we might be doing a bit tomorrow. We're not quite sure yet. Depends on the weather. We need to get the roof finished off, and then we really need to put a bit of a decking out here as well. I was a little bit concerned with those beams being made of OSB. I'm not sure what OSB means, but I'm sure a quick Google search will find that out. It will stand out in the wet for a couple of days, but it's not that great for it, so we don't really want this standing out for too long before we get a cover on it. So I'd like to say, certainly by tomorrow or the day after, we're going to have the roofing sheets on, and that means that we can then work inside, even when it's raining, which is good. Then we can look at putting the cladding on, get the insulation in, get the wiring in, and we'll get in there. So, yeah, I haven't had a bad day. I'm absolutely shattered. I'm certainly going to sleep tonight.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed the first episode of the Shepherd's Hut build. It's gone fairly well, to be honest. We've just come inside now. It's freezing cold and horrible outside, so I managed to get the fire lit, feeling a little bit more comfortable. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, click the subscribe and the little bell option there on YouTube. That would be great. Tomorrow we're going to try and get a little bit of the floor finished, and then we're going to get on with the roof. So it's been we've had a great day getting everything sorted out, a great couple of days. We can only keep the videos to about 30 minutes long, which is why we're having to do this over a few videos. I promise it'll be only a couple of days before the next video and not a couple of months. So we'll hope to see you soon, and back out into the cold tomorrow.